Dick Yuengling, was there a point in your life when you sat down and said, well, making beer is going to be my career?
Brian, I think it was pretty early in my life. I started working here in 1958 when I was probably 15 years old. And this is when I had the summers off from high school. And I just had a strong feeling for the company. I enjoyed the beer business. I just did odd jobs around the brewery. Obviously, I didn't get too involved. It was only available for a couple months. But I just enjoyed it, and it was a lot of fun, and it was also a goal I had to try to continue the existence of the Yuengling Brewery. Many small breweries in the late 50s and the 60s were going out of business, and I just had a goal and a feel for this place that I thought, as America's oldest brewery, we make good products, we could survive. And so, yeah, my answer is very early in life I had a feeling that I wanted to do this.
So for people who don't know, you are the fifth generation Yuengling?
I'm the fifth generation, that's right. I worked for my grandfather back in 58, 59 through 63 when he passed away, and then my father and his brother took over the company in 1964, and they ran it. Well, my uncle died in 1973, and my father bought his share back in 58, 59 through 63 when he passed away, and then my father and his brother took over the company in 1964, and they ran it. Well, my uncle died in 1973, and my father bought his share out, so I bought my father out in 1985 when he got sick.
You had to buy the company from your father?
We all bought the company. From DG sold it to his son, and his son Frederick sold it to my grandfather, and so forth. So yeah, that's the way it works.
Did you feel some kind of pressure on you because there's been so many generations before, like you were pretty much required to keep the company going?
No, I felt no pressure whatsoever, and actually, as I mentioned, there were so many small breweries going out of business in those days that I was discouraged from really getting involved in the company. I didn't want to go to college. I mean, I wasn't a great student. I did go to Lycoming College in Williamsport for 1 year. I didn't do well there, and I went in the Army for 6 months reserve training, and I spent 5.5 more years in the armed services during the Vietnam War. Fortunately, I didn't get called overseas, but they tried to discourage me because of the number of breweries that were going out of business, and I just wouldn't go away.
Well, when all those other breweries went out of business, fell by the wayside, why did Yuengling keep going?
Well, we just continued to persevere. My father and his brother kept the company going. Didn't take a lot of money out of it because there wasn't a whole heck of a lot of money being made in the small brewing business. As a brewery would go out of business, we'd pick up a couple of his accounts, and pick up a couple customers because people kind of stayed locally, and I'm talking breweries in eastern Pennsylvania in general. We'd pick up some business here and a little bit of business there, and before you know it, the years went by and we survived, and we gave ourselves a chance to get lucky, which is really what happened in 1989, 90. We got lucky and got hot.
What happened? What made it hot?
Well, the craft brewers, small, like microbreweries, home brewers, came into existence, and Jim Cuck, that owns the Samuel Adams Brewing Company, and not only him, but Fritz Maytag at Anchor Steam in California, they created a new taste for people, and it was like a beer renaissance, and people were starting to try smaller micro beers, craft beers, and geez, that's what we are. We brew porter, we brew ale. The lager was an addition that we put on board in the late 80s, and that's what really got hot. And they're just beers of good character, good taste, and it seems like the people are drinking a little less and drinking better beers. And, it's been a phenomenal ride the last 15 years.
Can you explain to the viewers where we're sitting right now?
We're sitting in the at the brewery hospitality room. They built this in the mid-30s after Prohibition, and it was kind of the room where they brought guests and visitors, and we didn't use this. We didn't have tours in those days. We didn't start the tours until, well, probably the late 70s, and we'd just grab a girl out of the office, and she'd take 4, 3, 2, 1 people, whatever number of people came through, and they'd take them through. Today, we're doing 80 to 100,000 people going through here, and they come in here and they have a couple beers, a sample of all the products, whatever they'd like to try. Going back in time after this bar was built, all the guys that worked here, many of the guys that worked here went off into the Second World War. So we'd have a party for them. All the employees would go, and fortunately they all come back, and they come back to work after the Second World War was over in 46, 47, and I knew a lot of them. When I started here, it was only 12 years after the Second World War, so I knew a lot of those fellas. So this thing has a lot of history to it. This bar has a lot of history to it, and a lot of memories.
If somebody comes here and takes the tour and goes out the door there to the brewery, what do they see?
Well, we take them into the brew house. We take them, explain how the brewing process is done, the different vessels in the brew house. We take them up past the old buildings and show them where the cellars are, where we ferment and age and store the beer before it's packaged. We show them the packaging operation. They'll see either the bottling line or the can line running. We bring them down, and now we open the caves up that they dug in 1830, so you could keep the beer refrigerated, because it affords you natural refrigeration. It stays about 52 degrees all the time in the caves. So we opened them up and cleaned them up, and so that's part of the tour. And then we bring them in here, and you're welcome to try the beer of your choice, a little sample.
How long has Yuengling been here?
Here?
In this building? In
this building? Well, every generation has added on to the plant. I mean, it's funny. The original brewery was wood. We have pictures of the original brewery, and it was wood. And as they grew, they took that down and put up a brick building out in the corner, which was built in 1875, 76. It took a couple years to build it. And that was started by my great-great-grandfather, D.G., the founder. His son got involved in it, and he added parts of it. My grandfather added a lot of parts. My father added the warehouse and some machinery. I added a storage cellar to it, plus a new brewery on the other side of town. So every generation has added a piece of this historical business.
Can you talk about the generations and how it came to be here in Pottsville, and who D.G. Yuengling is?
D.G. Yuengling came from a family in Aldigen, Germany, which is about 20 miles north of Stuttgart. And we really didn't have a lot of history on them. We had no idea how many members were in the family, what the family did. Now, here's a kid in 1828 when he left Germany, came over here. Where did he get the money? He was 20 years old, 20 years old, I guess. Where did he get the money? Where did he get the knowledge to make beer to begin with? And we found out this past summer that his father started making beer in Germany in 1816, and the brewery is still there. It's nothing more than a stucco building. He probably made a couple hundred barrels of beer a year, but the building is still there, and no members of the family are there. There were 9 children. 4 of them followed him into Pennsylvania in later years, but and 2 of them also got in the brewing business, and we don't know where they went. One of them was out in Treverton, Pennsylvania, a few miles, about 20 miles from here. He was involved in a brewery out there. But anyway, excuse me, DG built this in another part of town. He built a brewery in another part of town. It burned down after 1 year. Moved over here, dug the caves, built the brewery here, and it's here ever since. We're in our 176th year of business right now. And it was a mining area because coal had just been discovered in around 1800, 1802. So the little town started to grow, and I guess DG landed in Baltimore and found this town. How, I don't know. We have no idea. But he knew he was in a small ethnic community where beer was beverage of choice, say. It had good natural raw materials, and the water around here is terrific, and beer's 98% water. So he really knew what he was doing at the age of 21. It's kind of remarkable. And I guess there was a lot of luck involved.
How big is the company now?
Well, when I started, we were doing about 70,000 barrels, and last year we did 1,380,000 barrels. So we've grown quite a bit.
How much is that in gallons or in bottles?
Well, multiply. I can't figure it out in bottles, but multiply it by gallons, and it would be 31 gallons in a barrel. So almost 40 million gallons of beer.
How many employees you have?
We have about 185 employees between sales force, people in the gift shop, tour guides, office personnel, and workforce. About 185 to 200.
Where in the country can you go and buy a Yuengling?
We're only sold in 10 states, and we haven't even completed South Carolina yet. That's what's kind of a remarkable thing, because we outsell other brewers our size. We outsell them volume-wise, and we're only in 10 states, and they're in 48 states. So it's a good thing to be able to create a market share. What you try to do is create a 2, 3, 5% of the market share in a given territory, and we do that, which creates a big wholesaler interest, because they know your brand's going to be consumed by 5, 6% of the public, and it continues to feed our growth.
How do you do that? How do you pick a new area like South Carolina, you said, and go in and do people know the name already, or do you have to introduce them from scratch? And how do you get people to start drinking Yuengling?
Well, I have a very, very, very smart COO that I hired about 15 years ago, David Casanelli, and he has a very methodical expansion plan. We go in contiguous markets. We have Pennsylvania, Maryland. When we take hold in Maryland, we go to Virginia. When we take hold in Virginia, we create a demand. And by gosh, it works. I mean, it's been a phenomenal ride. The only time we got out of sync is about 6 years ago when we bought a brewery in Tampa to feed our volume. We couldn't keep up with it here. And we opened the state of Florida, and it wasn't a disaster or a flop, but it wasn't what we were used to. We didn't really take hold in Florida. We're just now, after 5, 6 years, starting to do a good job in the state of Florida. Our plan would be to feed the mid-Atlantic states, northeast out of the Pottsville plants, and the southeast out of Florida, and that would encompass the east coast of the United States with sales.
Why'd you buy a Florida brewery?
Well, when we were totally sold out of beer at this place. It's landlocked. It's limited capacity. We did 620,000 barrels out of a plant that basically was built to do 200,000. I mean, it was all through additional capacity that we created by adding fermenting tanks, storage tanks, and whatnot. We ran 2 shifts for 5 years and just couldn't make enough beer. So anyway, the decision came, what are we going to do? We decided to build another plant. We wanted to keep it local because part of the workforce here would go into the new plant. We had to scale this down a little bit. But we were out of beer, and before the new plant was built, we ran the risk of losing our customer base. A consumer went to a beer distributor in Pennsylvania and want a case of Yuengling, and they couldn't get it. Maybe they could, maybe they couldn't, so they switched brands. And the Stroh company at that time decided they didn't want to be in the brewing business anymore, and the Tampa plant became available. It was small enough that we felt that we could operate it economically and grow into it as the years went by. And even though it was in Florida, it was a good decision because it does give us a chance to come north from Florida and go south from Pottsville and service our marketing area.
What do you make? What are the products you make in Florida?
We make the lager, we make a light beer, we make a porter, so we have the black and tan. Those are the only products we make down there. Of course, up here, they make light lager down there also. We make two kinds of light beer, premium light lager. We, of course, make the light beer, or the lager beer. We make the premium beer here, ale, porter, black and tan. I can't even remember them all. We have a lot of good brands in our portfolio. We are like a major microbrewery, if that makes sense.
Can you taste the difference between the beer that's made here and the beer that's made in Florida?
No, our brewmasters have done a great job, and it was a big concern of mine. There's a difference in the water down there, but we filter the water properly and take the whatever's in it out of it. It's a different water supply down there, obviously, and our brewers have done a great job of matching the taste up. You really can't.
Who's your brewmaster?
Well, we have a brewmaster down there, a fellow that used to work for Ortley Brewery in Philadelphia. That's where he got his start. Then he worked for the Heilman Company, G. Heilman Brewery. He worked in Baltimore, ran that plant for him. And then he worked for Stroh, because Stroh had a relationship somehow with the Heilman Company. So he worked for Stroh in the Tampa plant. So he knows the plant. He knows how to make the beer down there. Up here we have a fellow by the name of Mike Brennan. He was formerly from Stroh in Allentown, and he's our brewmaster at the new plant over in Mill Creek. Jim Beeler is the brewmaster here, and he's been with us since the 60s, I believe, and they all do a good job. They really do. They're good brewmasters.
What does it take to make a brewmaster?
Well, you must have to have a knowledge of chemistry, know why things happen in the chemical reactions in beer during fermentation. You have to have a good taste so that you can taste. You should taste every tank of beer that's being processed, and you should have a good taste to know what kind of character that particular tank has, and is that what you're looking for? A knowledge of, all your ingredients, how much hops you need, how much hops, how much malt, the different grades of malt. It's a pretty complex thing. It's a very interesting profession. They're a group unlike any other. They really are.
How much are you involved in the beer making?
I don't get involved in it. I stay out of that, and I think most owners should. You know what you want. You know what you want to create in a taste. And this, I'll go to a story about how the lager was created. I knew what I wanted. I knew what the taste locally I knew what the taste locally would be and what the people would like and enjoy. And if it was too strong, they wouldn't drink it. And so I knew what I wanted to make, but I didn't know how to do it. So that's where our brewmaster, and at that time, we had a brewmaster that had been here since 1944, and a fellow by the name of Ray Norbert has since retired and passed away, but he was a great brewmaster. He knew this plant like the back of his hand. He knew everything about it. And I went to him and told him what I'd like to do, and he got it done. I mean, the Amber Lager, and that's the brand that we're really riding the wave on.
Can you explain a little bit about the process of making beer? Like, what's different between making the Amber Lager and making your premium?
Well, basically, the difference between those two brands is a little darker malt, a use of some dark malt, some caramel malts. That's how porter's made. Porter is a lot of dark malts, caramel malt, dark roasted malts, because porter is very dark and a little heavy, not real heavy, but a little heavy. Ale is made with more hops, because ale traditionally is a very hoppy product. People today don't know what ale is, a good ale. They don't know what a good ale should taste like. When I started, there were many, many good brands of ale. And we're kind of the last guys that really make a good ale in the United States.
That's Lord Chesterfield?
Lord Chesterfield, yeah.
How does that sell compared to the others?
It does okay. It's maybe 2% of our portfolio, 2-3% of our portfolio, but it's a brand that has a very, very loyal following. People that drink that ale love it, and it's part of it's part of what this company's about. They say, well, why is it important? People say, why is it so important for you to keep ale? And porter's in about the same category. It's part of what this company's all about. I think people drink brands from this company. Now, basically, it's the lager, but because they know we make other products that they might try maybe just once a year. They might just have it at Thanksgiving. They might just serve it at Christmas time. But it's part of our portfolio, and that's why it's so important to not discard those products and try to just say, well, let's just make lager the rest of our lives, because that's not what we're all about.
Lager is your biggest seller?
Oh, yeah. It's probably 75% of our portfolio. It's just phenomenal how it's...
Do you have a personal favorite?
Well, there's something for every occasion. If I'm out with the guys and going to have a couple beers, I'll drink a light lager or premium light. If you sit down at a nice restaurant and you want something different, you're going to have a porter or an ale. It depends on where you are and really how much you're going to consume. And you drink the best, but not to excess.
Now, you are the president of a company that has more than $100 million in sales. How often do you put on a suit and tie?
Well, you'll probably never catch me in one. Maybe somebody's wedding, my daughter's wedding. I don't do it often.
What's a day
when
like?
It's appropriate, I do.
What's a day like for you?
I'm here early. I get here like 5:15 in the morning, and I do paperwork. It's a good time for me to get paperwork done. So I sign checks. I sign every check, go over bills. Get my day planned, because I do a lot of the production and shipping. I just like doing that, and that's why I hired David Casanelli to do a lot of the chores or duties that a coat and tie guy would do, and he's doing a great job of that. But that's my thing. I get involved in the production, what we're going to produce, how much of it, are we going to bottle this, can that, what are we going to do? Shipping of the beer, getting it out of here, making those kind of arrangements, and seeing that it's done. I'm out of here probably around 2:30 in the afternoon, and I come back again at night, because the other brewery runs 2 shifts of kegs over at Mill Creek, our second brewery, and I go over there and see what they're doing, and I take control of that production too. Make sure the beer's fresh. You don't do too much of a peripheral brand just to get it done. You do enough to get you through a couple weeks so that beer is always fresh. That's very important in not only the bottling and canning of beer, but especially in draft, because draft beer isn't pasteurized, and probably 40% of our business is draft beer, which is unheard of in the United States. That's 4 times what Budweiser, Miller, or Coors does in comparison to their volume.
How long does it take beer from water and hops and yeast to going in the bottle or the can?
It takes about 28 days. It ferments. Everybody's fermentation time is different. Some have a 6-day fermentation cycle. We have a 7. Some go up to 10 days. You age and store the beer probably for 10 to 12 days. Goes into storage tanks then for maybe another almost 2 weeks. So it comes out in the bottles and cans and kegs in probably about 26 to 28 days.
And from the time it goes into the bottle, how old is it when I go and buy it at the store? How long from the bottling to the shelf?
Well, it should be consumed as quickly as possible, but bottled beer is pasteurized, canned beer is pasteurized, so it has a shelf life of probably 9 months if it's done properly, and if it's kept cold, if you put it in your refrigerator, you can keep it in there for a year. Not something you want to do, but it should be. We always tell people, treat it like milk. You buy a quart of milk, drink it, and go buy another one. But if it should be consumed as quickly as possible. We don't require wholesalers to keep a big inventory on the floor. I don't like that. I'd rather have them keep maybe a 2 weeks inventory, 3-week inventory tops. Draft beer, they should keep maybe 2 to 5 days. Depends on the volume of business that they do. We have some guys that do 3 loads a day of draft beer, and other guys do 2 or 3 a week. So our requirements are less for them. than they are for the guy that does 2 or 3 loads a day.
Why do you still have bottles and cans? I mean, after all these years, you'd think you'd come up with one that's the best. But you
Because people want them.
Why do,
Very simple.
Why the difference?
Canned beer is very convenient. It's generally a little less expensive. The containers are less expensive. The can container is a little less expensive than the throwaway bottle container. Our beer is primarily sold in throwaway bottles. It's just the image that we have. I mean, you don't see a lot of imported beers or craft beers. You don't see any craft beers in a can. And that's the way the public perceives our brand as a kind of a craft upscale beer. So they buy it in bottles. But our can business is growing and growing all the time because there's becoming a greater spread between throwaway bottles and cans all the time.
Cans being cheaper?
Cans are less expensive, yeah.
Do you have any returnable bottles still?
I won't give them up. I think the returnable bottle is a good bottle of beer. It's the most economic bottle of beer. I think the 3 large major breweries in the country are going to discontinue them sooner or later. And I'm going to hang in there with them as long as I can. You know, you buy the bottle, you fill it, you bring it back, wash it and sterilize it, fill it again and so forth, and it lasts until somebody smashes it. And, you know, it's environmentally friendly. People don't want to be bothered taking them back anymore. Your bar owners should all buy returnables. In our case, the big breweries have priced their returnables higher than the throwaways in an effort to discourage people from buying that package. We don't. We do the opposite. But you're just like banging your head against the wall because they don't want them. And it's a good bottle of beer. It's your best bottle of beer. It's real glass. Throwaway glass is a little synthetic glass. I won't say it picks up a taste, but a little bit. The best bottle of beer is a returnable bottle, and I won't give them up. I mean, I'm from the old school, and I'm just not doing it.
Can you taste the difference between the bottle, can, the returnable bottle, and the keg of your products?
Well, draft beer has a little different character. The pasteurization takes a small amount of character away from a bottle. There's no question about it. You really can't taste the difference. Cans are so well made today. There's a liner in the can that doesn't pick up any aluminum taste. The old steel cans, going back into the 50s before they developed the aluminum can, yeah, you'd get a metallic taste in a can of beer. But today, canned beer is fine. There's nothing wrong with it.
Can you explain how distribution works? Like when it leaves here, where does it go? Who hands it off to who before it finally gets to the consumer?
We're the supplier, and we will sell it. We'll take Pennsylvania, for instance, and we will sell it to Wilsbach Distributing in Harrisburg, in Dauphin County. He represents our brand in about 3 or 4 or 5 counties in central Pennsylvania. It's Wilsbach Distributing in Harrisburg. Now, he's responsible for the sale and the growth and the handling of our product in those particular counties that we've appointed him to. And it's up to him to get on-premise accounts, display your beer properly in on-premise accounts, and 40% of our business being draft beer, there are a lot of them. And we look for our point of sale to be hung and taken care of in those accounts. He's also responsible for point of sale and display of our products in the on-premise distributorship. So in Pennsylvania, you go supplier, the brewer, to the wholesaler, and then to the retailer, whether it's the retail distributor or the retail on-premise bar room, restaurant, whatever.
What's a distributor?
A distributor is where the public goes to buy a case of beer. You don't buy it you can also buy it in Pennsylvania at a bar. Some of them have come up with a new system that is very good, where they sell 6-packs and 12-packs. Basically, it's a pizza sub shop with takeouts, and it's very popular with the consumer. Maybe the guy doesn't want a whole case of beer. So there are a greater and greater number of these delis or just your regular bar room that sell beer by the 6-pack or the 12-pack. And the consumer is allowed to buy up to a certain amount. Now, if he wants a case of beer, he can't go to a bar or a deli to buy a case. He must buy that from the local beer distributor.
What do you think about all those rules?
It's a good rule. It really is. Everybody complains about the rules in every single state. There's archaic rules in the southern states. There's different rules in New York and Massachusetts and Rhode Island or wherever you want to go with buy beer. There's different rules and regulations, but those are the rules. And beer is a very heavily taxed item, so there has to be rules. Or people will be bringing beer in from other states where the beer is not that heavily taxed. So you have to have rules, you have a system in place, and live with it. I mean, the thing has been in existence forever, and it's a good system in Pennsylvania. It's helped the small brewery survive. It's helped major breweries like Miller and Coors play on an even playing field with Budweiser. Budweiser dominates the industry. Budweiser is 50% of the beer sales in the United States. The rules in Pennsylvania have kept the beer business competitive so that we can survive, Coors can survive, Miller can survive, all against Anheuser-Busch, who wants to do it all.
How big is Yuengling in terms of sales nationally compared to the other breweries?
We're about 0.6% of the total beer sales in the United States. We're as much as we've grown, we're still only 1/100th as big as Budweiser. We're only 1/40th as big as Miller, maybe 1/38th. And Coors, we're about 1/20th as big as them. But we place number 5 on the brewing list. We're the 5th largest brewer, which is really quite an accomplishment for this little company.
Does that kind of surprise you? I mean, can you relate to that, to the image that Yuengling Lager has in like a Gainesville, Florida, or someplace like that? Or do you still see it as your small town local beer?
It floors me. I'm amazed by how we've grown. Remember 70,000 barrels in 1958, and to see how we've grown today, and the way that, as I mentioned, we get almost 80 to 100,000 visitors. Just the fact that those people think enough to come in here and go through this tour, and they're excited when they come in here. I mean, they're all upscale, upbeat, great attitude, and they're really anxious to see this and see that. I mean, we've created something here that's a phenomenon. It's really, in the brewing industry, it really is, and probably most manufacturing businesses. It's really a phenomenon what we've got here.
How did that happen?
I don't know. We're not that smart. I can't say that it was planned. It really just happened. I mean, I think the consumer looks at us as the David against Goliath, and they're right. We make good products. Our program is to price our products competitively with the national brands, which is very difficult to do for a smaller company. But that's our game, and I think the public appreciates our pricing, appreciates our products, and appreciates that we're not corporate America and just a little guy on the block. And I think psychologically that's why we're where we are today.
I read something where you said you spent about $50 million on the brewery in Florida, and if Budweiser had done it, they would have spent $150 million. How can you compete with a company like that has 50% of the market that can just spend an unlimited amount of money to compete against you?
It's difficult. We'll buy it. If we need a new machine, we'll buy it. We'll buy a used machine. There's really nothing wrong with it. Maybe some work to be done on it, bearings, drives, different things to be done, and we can make that work. We survived here in the 50s and 60s doing that. As all the local breweries would go out of business, I'd go around and I'd cherry pick different pieces of machinery that we might need, and sometimes you get a real lemon, and sometimes you get a winner. We still have pieces of equipment up there. I mean, maybe it's just conveyor systems. But I have pieces of machines up there from the old Kyer Brewery in Monroe City, and pieces of brewery from Stegmeyer's up in Wilkes-Barre. Over in Allentown, the New Weiler Brewery, I went in and got a lot of stuff out of there. And that's how we survived, and we still do it, although we shouldn't be doing quite as much of it, but we don't have to as much anymore, but we still do. We bought some used labelers, used filler, and there was absolutely nothing wrong with them when we equipped the new brewery over in Mill Creek.
When do you get involved in the advertising or the image campaigns or logos or beer can labels or anything like that?
Not really, no. I stay out of that. I don't think my tastes are along good labeling and good images for our packaging. I stay out of that. We hire a professional to do it, and he'll give us samples of something if we want to make a packaging change. He'll give us samples, and we'll take them to the sales force, to our wholesalers, ask them what they think. Do you like this or do you like that? And we're in the process of doing that right now. And we will evaluate their input and take it into consideration, and sometimes go with their thoughts rather than our own. So, but I basically stay out of it. I just pay the designer to do it, and I stay out of it.
How often do you come out with a new product?
Well, not very often, because we've been growing so fast we haven't had time to. But we found in the last 20 years that one of the sons of the founder, D.G. Yuengling's son, David Jr., had founded a brewery in Richmond, Virginia. And it was down on the James River, and it got flooded back in the 1880s or whatever year back then. There was no record of it. We just happened to dig around. There was some old newspaper advertisements, and finally somebody found a picture of the brewery down on the James River. So anyway, it's a line of maybe craft beers. The James River, D.G. Yuengling's James River Steam Beer Company, that we could make a line of beers if we want to. It's an option, and it could be kind of a neat thing. We come out with new packages of existing products more than we create new products.
Yeah, I just saw for the first time a 16-ounce can of lager.
It's brand new, yes, yes. We have done that in a 4-pack, so, which is unusual. Most of your cans are in a 6-pack. We do a 4-pack, 16-ounce cans, so the price point to the consumer is more attractive. Maybe you don't want 6 cans. Maybe that's 3 quarts of beer. Maybe you only want two quarts of beer, or 4 16-ounce cans. You can probably pick them up for $4, $4.50. It depends where you are, and so that's why we did that.
Now, I remember in the 1980s, I was working in Washington, D.C., and I used to buy Yuengling Porter for $6.99 a case. And one day I went in, and overnight the price had changed to $12.99 a case. Was that your doing?
Yeah, it wasn't overnight, but I didn't own the company in 1980, but my dad was selling porter for like discounted prices, like cheap beer prices. And I felt that how are you going to create an image selling a good porter for $7 a case? So I repackaged it. I got rid of we had that little mod bottle at that time. And this wasn't until about 88 or 90, somewhere around there. And I brought the price along. I mean, not in one fell swoop, but in probably a 5-year period, I got the price up there where it's at craft beer prices now. And we're selling more of it at that price than we did at the $7 price. That's why.
Do you taste the competition?
We try their brands. You know, they're all pretty much the same. I think that's why we've grown so much. We've got beers with character to them. There's nothing wrong with the brands of the major breweries. Are all good beers, but there's no quality. There's no character to them. And I think we're looking for the consumer that wants to drink less but better. And that's, you know, so there's not much to taste out there outside of some of the imported brands. Imported brands are showing big increases. And why? You're paying more for it. Some of them have a character to them that people apparently like, and it's an image thing.
Do you hear much from either people who are running microbreweries or who want to start them up, who just come and tap your brain?
A lot of them come in and, we'll do anything for them. I think they're a great part of the brewing industry, as small as they may be. I think they comprise maybe 3% of the sales, but they're 3 important percentage points of the sales because they're very enthusiastic about their products. When they come in here, they may have questions. I'll direct them to the brewmaster. I don't have the answers all the time. If I do, I tell them. If I don't, I'll take them to the brewmaster and direct their questions to him. If they need yeast, if they need some advice on how to keep the yeast clean and so you don't have any bacteria in it, if they have a problem, we'll try to help them with it. We'll do anything for them. And we like to see them survive.
You all know each other?
Well, no, we don't know each other. I know who a lot of them are. I know where a lot of the breweries are that are craft or microbreweries, but personally, I don't know them. I mean, if they come over here, I'm more than welcome to see them, meet them.
Where do you get your supplies? Where do you buy cans, bottles, labels, kegs?
We buy our ingredients come from the Midwest, the malt, the barley that is processed, and then comes malt. That comes out of North Dakota, the Dakotas, Montana, Canada. They grow a lot of good malt in Canada. The corn comes out of Illinois. The cans we buy from the Ball Metal Container Company. There's nobody left anymore. It's just like the breweries are all funneling down into 1 or 2 suppliers. And we buy cans from Ball Metal, Crown Cork and Steel. Crown Cork and Seal Company is still out there making cans. We buy almost all our green bottles come out of the Brockway, Pennsylvania, Owens, Illinois plant. We buy probably 75% of our glass from them. Very, very good company, good product. Labels come out of Baltimore, a small label manufacturer down there. So we try to buy off small companies, but there's not a lot of them out there. It's just like the brewing industry. It's funneling down into 2 suppliers, and that's about it.
Where do you get the water?
The water's local. It's local, city water. We have great water supply here. We test it, and it's pure and good, and not a lot of chemicals in it.
Do you have to buy the water?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Did it used to just come out of the ground? You had a spring of your own?
Well, when the brewery started, we had remember there was this whole mountain where the brewery's built is full of springs. So down behind the one cave, there was this like a cistern or a reservoir built there, and that's where the water came from. I mean, he only made probably 5 barrels of beer a day, and that's where he got his water from. And as we grew, and the city of Pottsville grew, we bought a reservoir that's about 5 blocks up the street that was the city reservoir. We bought that from the city. Well, we since outgrew that, but that's where our water came from, from 1865 to about 1965. For almost 100 years we used that water. Well, there's not enough of it to keep us alive, so we just switched over and use city water anymore around here.
Do you have a lot of trucks? Or do they belong to somebody else when you see the Yuengling trucks out on the road?
Well, that's part of our advertising. We will decal our suppliers or wholesalers' truck with our decals. I think it's like a traveling billboard. You do it once and it'll be on the road for 10 years. You just keep it clean. We have 3 tractors, about 8-10 trailers. We do some of our own delivering, but I try to stay out of that.
So gas prices aren't devastating to you?
Well, yeah. I mean, we spend about $12,000-$15,000 a month on fuel with those 3 trucks. Or yeah, every bit of that. Yeah, it's devastating to everybody, I think.
Now, we said at the beginning you're the 5th generation Yuengling. Is there a 6th generation Yuenglings coming along?
Well, I have 4 daughters, and they're all currently employed. Jennifer's went to brewer school, so she is a brewmaster. She's the oldest, and she does a lot of the things I do, and it's taken a load off of my mind the last 5 years. I have Debbie, does office work. They're all in different areas, which is good. They're all in different areas. Debbie does office work, accounting work, bookkeeping, payroll. Cheryl's in the plant doing some shipping and production work, logistics work. She sets up load schedules. And I have a daughter down in Baltimore that probably will not move back into the area because her husband has a very good job in Baltimore, and nice young man that's been very successful. And she's in sales down there, and she loves it. She's very amicable, pleasant, and has done a nice job. I've watched her make a presentation to a wholesaler down in the Maryland market, and she really has come a long way. And she's only here about 9 months. She's just recently started. So they're all involved, and 2 of them have children, so that's generation 7. There are only 3. They have a ways to go. I hope I live long enough to see them jumping around here.
When did you become president? When did you buy the brewery?
I bought it in 1985. I left here for 11 years. I was a beer distributor. You know, it's a family operation, and I was aggressive. I wanted to do different things and make improvements on the company with basically money that my dad didn't have. It's easy to spend somebody else's money. So I got a little disgusted in 1973, and I led distributorship. And I was a local wholesaler for some other brands. I handled Pabst Blue Ribbon, I handled Rolling Rock and Carling Black Label, and I did pretty well for 11 years. But in doing that, I learned a lot. I learned how our customers viewed the supplier, because I was our customer. I was our wholesaler for different brands. I met people within the industry that represented those brands, and some of those people are wholesalers in different areas of Pennsylvania today, because I knew them. I knew what they were doing with the brands that they had, and they came on board as Yuengling wholesalers after I got back in 1985. My dad got sick in probably 83 or 84, developed Alzheimer's, and you know, I was the last guy that would have bought it. This would have been closed if I wouldn't have purchased the company. But I always wanted to do it. I mean, there was no question that I was going to come back. It was just a matter of when. And he got sick, unfortunately. I come back under those conditions. But in '85, I bought it from him, and I've run it ever since.
You have any brothers or sisters?
I have a sister that's out in San Diego, and she wasn't interested in the business. Nobody else in the family was interested in it.
So was the whole focus of the family on you, and you pretty much had to take it over?
Well, I didn't see it that way, but it's something that I did want to do anyway. I mean, there was no pressure on me to do it. I've enjoyed a tremendous amount of support from cousins, other family members that, I mean, I have two cousins that they could have been part owners of this, but they chose, when their father passed away, they chose to sell it. And they sold to my father. So I might have partners, and there's no animosity, and they wish us nothing but the best, and I see them, and you know, we get along terrifically, and it's very rewarding that I get the support of these other family members like I do. It's nice. I see a lot of fights in families, especially in family businesses. Animosity because one guy's successful and the other may not be, or he's not involved. Well, the one family chose not to be, and they don't care. They just wish us nothing but the best. So that's nice.
When you bought the company in 1981, was it? 1985, and you sat down at your desk. What did you look around and say, okay, this needs to be done?
Well, you know, I can remember the first day I walked in here, and it was an emotional thing, because it was something that I really wanted to do, first of all my life, and it was being done because my dad gets sick, so it was kind of an emotional thing. But I didn't we weren't in trouble when I bought it. We were okay. So I didn't make any drastic changes other than tried to make the plant run more efficiently before I got into the let's grow the business mode. Try to get, it wasn't efficient. My dad, that wasn't what he did best, and it's what I do best. And so that was my first thing. I wanted to get the company, the company running efficiently so that we could make money invested in marketing dollars, invested in people that had marketing talent, which is what I did with David Casanelli. And it all worked, you know, smart or dumb luck, I don't know. Probably dumb luck.
Has the business changed much since 1985?
It's the beer business is the beer business. It's constantly changing. There's pressures put on you by the national brewers. There's pressures put on you legislatively, trying to change the rules and the regulations. You know, back in '91, Clinton administration doubled the beer tax, or '92 was doubled the federal beer tax. Well, that, you know, the beer took a big hit. We've never reached the sales volume since then that we were reached, not us, but in general, that they reached back in the late '80s and early '90s.
Sales dropped right when the tax went up?
Yeah. But maybe that's a good thing. Maybe people were consuming a little too much beer. And I don't have a problem with them taxing beer for revenue. It should be used properly, maybe for alcohol abuse and things like that. And we're very conscious of that. We don't want to see kids drinking. We're not at all for anything like that. We don't try to market our products to underage drinkers. It's hard to discourage them. I mean, there's one major brewery has said underage drinking is down 47%. I don't see it. I don't know what we can do to combat it. We certainly don't do advertising to encourage it. That's probably a big thing that we can do is don't encourage it, but it's hard to stop.
Do you do much lobbying to protect your industry? Because it sounds like beer or alcohol or tobacco are easy things to tax because people aren't going to oppose a tax on it.
Well, we have a lobbyist in Harrisburg that watches over the liquor laws that they're trying to introduce in Harrisburg, and we're very conscious of where they're coming from. Basically, it's one of the major breweries is trying to change the rules because they don't have a great market share in this state, and they're trying to change the rules to suit themselves.
One of the bigger ones?
Yeah, and we're watching them, and now I think the other brewers are watching them too. Before it was basically just us that were fighting the battle with them, but now I think the other less major brewers are watching them also. So it's not just us against them. It's more or less a consolidated effort with us and against the one guy trying to get them changed. They're relaxing that a little bit, but if they can't, if one guy can't get things the way they want them, they can't get their sales to where they want them in the state, they'll change it legislatively that it will benefit them, not the consumer, not the state, but them. That's who we fight.
You now have 3 breweries and you're in 10 states?
10 states.
Do you have a plan for eventually adding states, or can you see yourself adding a 4th brewery or a 5th brewery? And
No, I can't see that. No, I don't see us putting another brewery out there. We have a lot of capacity now. It's the first time in my tenure here that the company has capacity. The goal is to fill it up with premium priced products. Many breweries will fill additional capacity with low ball. I don't want to do that. We're not that big that we can afford to absorb low priced beers into our portfolio. So we have plenty of room for growth. The thing to do is to do it properly so that it's successful growth. We have not missed a beat in any of our new markets. In the whole state of New York has been successful. North Carolina has been successful. South Carolina has been successful. Florida, as I remarked before, was not, but we got out of our plan. And as long as we stick to our plan on adjacent markets and going, going into markets where they know our products and they want our products, and our wholesaler is willing to spend money and market our products, we'll be successful.
Do you worry about what's going to happen to the brewery after you when you get into the 6th generation, 7th generation?
I can't worry about it. I mean, you know, I did my job. I got it to this point. That's somebody else's problem.
Is there something you want to accomplish in the next few years, in the rest of your career?
Well, I'd like to turn over a successful operation to the next generation. Well-planned change in that things are going good. You don't have a lot of issues away from the beer business that the next generation has to contend with. I want to leave them with 3 breweries that are in good shape, operating efficiently, and then it's theirs. It's up to them to pay me, and I'll be gone someday.
You would sell the brewery to your daughters?
Well, they're not going to get it for nothing. Absolutely, I had to pay it. I had to pay for it.
When you come to work every day now, do you have to do jobs that you'd just as soon not do because the company has grown to the size as it has, or can you pretty much do whatever you want because you're the boss?
Well, no, you have obligations and responsibilities, and as we've grown, yes, there's things that I have to address that I didn't previously have to address, but I don't mind doing it. It's part of my job, and if I don't change to address some of these things, then I'm not going to be a successful manufacturer in the state of Pennsylvania. So I have to do different things that maybe you don't want to do, but I do them.
Well, we're out of time. Dick Yuengling, thank you very much.
Thank you, Brian. Nice to be here.
The PCN profile you just watched is available on VHS or DVD for $29.95. Shipping and sales tax included. To place your order, call 1-866-PCN-VIDEO or visit our website at www.pcntv.com. PCN programs on VHS and DVD are available for purchase online. Go to our website at pcntv.com, click on PCN Store, and browse through hundreds of program titles, tours, books, profiles, Gettysburg Battlefield walks, PIAA championships, and PCN merchandise, all in a safe, secure shopping environment. Visit the PCN Store at pcntv.com today. Take a walking tour through Pennsylvania without taking a single step. PCN Tours does the footwork for you when we take you inside Pennsylvania's factories to show you how things are made. Just put yourself in the hands of a production expert and let them show you around. There are more things made in Pennsylvania than you think. PCN Tours, weekdays at 6 p.m. on PCN, only on cable. Pennsylvania has many faces. PCN brings them all together. PCN, a television network for Pennsylvanians.